Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Realty Rundown with the Nick Wyse team. I am Nick Wyse, and with me, as always, is my teammate and co-host, Nathan Schwartz.
That's right. Hey, everyone. So today we're diving into a question we hear all the time from buyers, sellers, and sometimes some of our fellow agents. If inventory is going up, why aren't home prices coming down?
Yeah, that's right. So, according to the National Association of Realtors, inventory levels have increased about 16% year over year, which is a pretty substantial number and something
Yeah.
we've kind of been begging for a long time. We need more homes. We need more homes. And the thought was, for some people anyway, that would cause median home prices to go down, but it's not. It's not even staying steady exactly. It's actually still rising. So a lot of people are scratching their heads right now, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. So let's break it down. While inventory is increasing, it's important to remember it's rising from historically low rates. So we're still seeing way below pre-pandemic inventory.
Yep, that absolutely nails it. It's like the inventory was so low that even though
Hmm.
we're adding inventory, it's still low.
Yeah.
So the analogy would be like filling up a gas tank. It's empty. You fill it all the way up, but then you drive around a little bit. You may have more gas than you had
Yep.
yesterday, but you're still not full. That tank is still needs some more room in there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's great to see more listings on the MLS than we had a year ago, but the number of homes is still not meeting buyer demand.
And out of curiosity, Nicole, what was the average days on market back during like the pandemic era?
Oh man. So it seemed like most homes were selling in like 24 hours, even to the point where when I got a new listing, I would actually put in the MLS, seller reserves right to not look at any offers for the first 24 or even sometimes 48 hours because we were
Sure.
trying to make sure we could get enough time to get people in there to get multiple offers
Right.
going, to guarantee that we were going to sell it for, well over asking price or, at least at asking price. So yeah, we got to use that trick. Probably shouldn't say some of that stuff. Other agents are gonna be like, "Oh, we'll use that next time." Well, you're welcome.
Giving
But
away our
that's what I was
secrets.
doing. No, I wasn't the only one, but it was a smart thing to do just to say, "Hey, we're going to hold off."
Yep.
Technically, the lowest I think I ever saw the average homes on market for Elkhart County was 9 days.
Wow.
And I think we've discussed before, Nate, the average should be closer to around 60 days.
Right.
That's kind of your
Yep.
balanced market, not a seller's market, not a buyer's market. So about 60 days worth of inventory, which would be, if we don't list another home, it would take 60 days to sell every home on
Hmm.
the market.
Yep.
Where we were, just over a week to sell every
Yep.
home on the
That's
market,
crazy. It's
adding new
crazy.
ones.
And we're
So
what,
it was
32
just
to 35 days now with the current market?
yeah. I think the last number I saw, and I was trying to incorporate some Elkhart County stats into this. It wasn't working. The PDF that I had wasn't uploaded, so maybe we'll hit that up at a future venture here. But yeah, I think the last number I saw was we were around 37 days on market now on
Gotcha.
average.
Okay.
So I
All right.
think that's kind of been just slowly ticking up. Seems like every month will be
Yeah.
like 32, then 33, then maybe
Yep.
35, and now, so it is slowly ticking up, but still, Nate, as you know, that signifies that we are still in a seller's market.
Yep. Yep.
So
Absolutely. Well, anyway, bunny troll, but back to land prices
no,
falling. Here's a big reason sellers aren't desperate. Most current homeowners have very low mortgage rates, and we're talking some of them have 3% or lower. So they're not eager to sell unless they really have to.
yeah, and that's just it. That's kind of what we talked about. Still a seller's market. They've still got control of the market. The new homes hitting the market. Typically, these are instances where builders, are trying to put homes on the market as well, but they're dealing with labor shortages, material costs. As we know, we talked about the tariffs and how that can affect material costs, and just the tight margins that they have. Those tight margins increase the price of the home, of course, and as builders price their homes up higher, that's going to drag up the demand for the homes already on the market, which is going
Hmm.
to keep their prices continuing as well. So there's prices. We're trying to stay profitable as far as builders go. They're trying to stay profitable. So there's really no clearance sales. They're not seeing their new construction homes sit on the market very long either. So again, demand staying strong, especially in certain school districts. We live in the Middlebury School District. Traditionally, that has been a very strong one. Anymore, the Goshen School District has been tremendous over the last few years.
Hmm.
Really, everything in Elkhart County has been strong. Elkhart schools, obviously they would
Yep.
be the bigger city of Elkhart County, but they're doing well. The last several years they've done really well. And then you talk about, like Jimtown and Napanee school systems, Northwood. Those are school systems where people generally don't move out, and if they do, they move right back in. Maybe they
Hmm.
took a job, out of state or something like that. When they come back, they tend to want to be right back there. Especially Jimtown. I've seen over the last 15 years that I've been in this business, people are like, yeah, we want to be in Gymtown. You're like, oh, here's a nice home in Northridge, good school system. Like, yeah, we want to be in Gymtown. There is no stop and start. Like they want to be in Gymtown. Shout out to Fairfield too. Fairfield has a lot of
Yeah.
that as well.
Yep.
People that grew up in Fairfield schools want their kids to go to Fairfield schools. And then there's the instance where people do desire lower tax areas. If anything, that has bumped Goshen down a little bit. There's been so much construction. They revitalized downtown. They added the bypass. They're continuing to do road work, and so that has resulted in a little bit higher tax basis for the Goshen folks. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know, Nate, if you've driven through Elkhart lately, but I was in between appointments yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to run downtown Elkhart and stop and get some coffee at this cool place called Macaroons. If you haven't been to Macaroons on Main Street in Elkhart, you got to go. It's absolutely awesome. Definitely don't go if you have a sweet tooth and you can't control yourself, like me.
That's
Because I left with
I
like
can't
$40 in macaroons and cookies. Like for my kids, they're for the kids. But anyway, like trying to get there, like I was on, so like Indiana and 19 basically, and I was like just trying to get to downtown Elkhart.
Yep.
Every other road is blocked off. Shout out to Corey White who was talking about this on a post yesterday. He's like got a picture of these construction workers, and they're like, well, it looks like everybody's like taking these routes to go around our construction, so we're going to need to start construction on those routes too.
For real.
Dude, I was driving down streets that I've never driven down, and I've lived here for a long time. It was just really, really frustrating. So I bring that up to say it'll be interesting to see if all this construction in downtown Elkhart is going to result in a little higher tax basis for the Elkhart market as well, because traditionally that has been a little lower, lower taxes in Elkhart.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah. So, and then of course, just communities with good infrastructure. That's exactly what we're talking about. People want to have smooth roadways. That's why they're doing the construction now, so people can travel easier, have more amenities that are included in their townships.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're a buyer, don't wait around for the market to crash, because it more than likely isn't coming. We don't have a crystal ball, but I don't see one coming. Prices are likely to level off, not plunge. So instead of timing the market, focus on finding the right house at the right monthly payment that you can manage.
Yeah, and I've said it before. I'm not going to name his name, but I've got a good buddy who sold his home. It has now been like 7 years ago, and he's like, I'm just going to wait till the market pulls back.
Yep.
Had he just bought a home then at what he thought was elevated pricing, his home value would have almost doubled. In some situations it would have. The prices he was looking at, he was looking for, that kind of starter level home around 135, 140, which that's what it used to be. Nate's looking at me like, what are you talking about, dude? Because now, what would you say like an average starter level home is?
I think in Elkhart County, I think you're looking 230 to 250 in my opinion.
Yeah, real quick. We're talking about a 1,200 square foot place. If it's nice and it's in good condition, that's what you're going to do. So if you are looking for, trying to get a little better value, maybe try and whittle down the seller a little bit, you probably don't want to get out there and look at homes that are popping up on the market immediately, because you don't have, a motivated seller. So we would be happy to break it all down for you. If you ask us, hey, run a search for everything that's been on the market for at least 30 days. Because now you do have a seller that's like, oh man, I'm overpriced. I realize it. I'm willing to take a lower offer. Sometimes even if they don't lower their price, they already have that mindset that maybe it is time to consider lower offers. So they're going to be more flexible in pricing and terms, as far as, move-in dates, the ability to have inspections that you want, repairs following those inspections. So just a little more mobility from the seller's perspective. And then if you are a seller, of course, don't get fooled. Just because the inventory is rising doesn't mean you've lost your leverage. If you're still going to price your home well and you prepped your home well, it's still going to move fast. You're still going to be in the driver's seat. We are definitely still seeing some multiple offer scenarios. Some instances, we just had a home that was listed coming soon. So it never even hit the market. We were in that status for, I think, about 10 days, and a few days on the market, we got a sight unseen offer. Somebody actually made a full price offer on that home with terms that were very friendly to the seller. And, they had not yet officially walked through the home. They had seen it before because they had lived in the neighborhood and they knew the owner. So that helps, obviously. But they still have to sign a sight unseen addendum saying, we've never walked through this home with a realtor. We're buying it based off of what we know from the past of the home. So that's happening. That was not a starter level home. That was an executive level home with acreage and, a higher price point. So the point was that guy priced his home right. It was extremely well prepped. We did the full virtual tour videos, the 3D videos that we do when we list properties. And I think that worked tremendously. So
yeah. And I will say buyers are getting smarter. They're not waiving inspections like they were in 2021. So make sure your home shows well and is priced accordingly, kind of like what Nick just said. So look at the proper comps, not from comps 2 years ago or what your neighbor's house sold for 2 years ago.
Yeah, yep. And I'm looking at some numbers here, Nate, and it looks like, basically you're really low level move-in ready home, but really like, hey, I just need the cheapest home out there. Right now in Michiana, we're seeing that number right around $200,000. So that's not even necessarily your starter home. That's just like, hey man, get me into a home that I don't have to fix up before I move in. That's like $200,000 right now in Michiana. So it's these numbers are pretty dramatic.
Oh yeah.
Nate, are you on a train?
Nope. Nearby. At the office.
Yeah, there you go. The good old Goshen office that Nate was working out of right across from the train track, and they love to keep their horn.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So anyway, so we're not seeing widespread price drops. Sellers who price too high are sitting longer, but those who list strategically are still getting offers, and sometimes, like we mentioned, getting multiple offers.
Yep. So just the bottom line, kind of the quick recap here. Inventory is rising, still in a low inventory environment, still low. Prices are holding strong because demand is still there and sellers don't have pressure. They're not under pressure to sell quickly. They don't necessarily have the motivations. We've talked about those in other episodes, interest rates, so all those other things. So strategy is super important, whether you're buying or selling. It's all about strategy right now. It's about writing an appropriate offer. It's about putting terms out there that are appetizing to the seller if you're a buyer. And if you are a seller, of course, getting your home ready, being strategic about how you allow your home to be marketed. Calling us would be your best bet to get things started. But really, it's about strategy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want a custom market update or help navigating this complex market, reach out to the Nick Wyse team. We're here to help you move smart, not just fast.
That's right. All right, guys. That's it for today. Thank you for listening to the Realty Rundown with the Nick Wyse team. As always, we'll get you wise replies because Nick knows. Thanks for joining me, Nathan.
Yep. Thanks, Nick.
See you guys.